So, this is part 3 of the series I'm doing about scary stories. The last one was about the Santa doll came to life and tried to kill the main character's children. And this one's about Burger King. And the first one we did was about a girl just wanted to eat a boy's fingers. A cannibal. And arrested him. Arrested her, I mean. Let's play a Burger King then.
Burger King was an average job for a guy like me.
Okay.
Often the nights were quiet, with only a handful of
First off, why was he flipping the whole burger on the stove?
customers coming in for a quick dinner before closing. But on that particular night, the story I'm about to tell you was anything but ordinary. I was alone on the night shift, as usual, and the clock read 10 p.m. when it all started. The night was cold and dark, and the rain was pounding on the windows of the restaurant, creating a gloomy atmosphere. I had finished cleaning the tables and was about to close when I saw a lone man standing outside in the pouring rain. He wore a black jacket and a hat that hid half his face, but something about his posture sent a shiver down my spine. I still couldn't refuse entry to a customer, so I opened the door for him. The man walked in without saying a word, just staring at me with his cold, dark eyes. He ordered a hamburger and a soda, and I prepared his order. The atmosphere in the restaurant was strange, as if silence and tension had taken over the place. As I delivered his food, I tried to make friendly conversation, but the man didn't respond. He just kept staring at me. Something in his gaze made me uneasy, but I decided not to pay much attention to it. The man sat in a corner of the restaurant, alone, silent. I continued with my usual tasks, but I couldn't help but feel watched. A few minutes passed, and I noticed that the man didn't touch his food. He just sat there, looking at me. I felt uncomfortable, as if I were in a scene from a horror movie. Finally, I decided to approach him and ask if everything was okay. I walked up to his table and spoke to him. "Is everything all right, sir?" The man looked up, but instead of answering, he smiled in a disturbing way. It was a smile that didn't reach his eyes, and his teeth looked sharp as knives.
His teeth is all connected together, apparently.
At that moment, I knew something wasn't right, but I couldn't just let it go. The man finally spoke, and his voice was soft and creepy. "I like your restaurant. It's a good place to be alone." I didn't know what to answer, so I just nodded and walked away from his table. I walked back to the counter, trying to ignore the uneasy feeling that came over me. The night was slowly progressing, and the man was still sitting in his corner, not touching his food. I decided to call the manager and tell him what was going on, but the call was mysteriously cut off before I could say a word. I felt like I was trapped in a silent nightmare. I decided to take a break and headed for the bathroom. I needed a moment to regain my composure. While I was in the bathroom, I heard footsteps outside. As I came out, I saw the man walking around the restaurant, looking at everything as if he were inspecting every nook and cranny. I didn't know what to do, but I knew I couldn't stay hidden in the bathroom forever. When I returned to the counter, the man approached and finally broke his silence. "You have an interesting place here. I like it a lot." His words were unsettling, and his gaze kept boring a hole into me. I didn't know how to respond, so I simply said thank you, trying to remain calm. The clock struck midnight, and the man still wouldn't touch his food. At that moment, I realized I couldn't let this continue. I asked him if he needed anything else, if he was satisfied with his dinner. "I need you to show me the kitchen." My heart began to pound. I was not allowed to show customers the kitchen, and something about the way he was acting